She walked into the busy store with torn shoes and clothes that had seen better days. Her head was low, and her eyes avoided everyone around her. The small bell above the door jingled softly, but no one paid her much attention, except the cashier. The cashier glanced up and immediately frowned. There was a hint of annoyance in her eyes. She rolled them and whispered to her coworker, "Here we go again." The woman didn't look like someone who could afford much, and the cashier's judgment was clear. The poor woman moved slowly down the aisles. She didn't reach for anything fancy, just a loaf of bread, a small carton of milk, and a pack of diapers. She clutched them tightly, like they were precious treasures. When she finally reached the counter, the cashier's smirk grew wider. "We don't serve beggars," she said loudly enough for the whole store to hear. The woman's face flushed with embarrassment. She said nothing. Slowly she put the items back on the shelf and turned around. Customers watched quietly as she left the store, empty-handed and humiliated. But what if I told you that just weeks later, the very same cashier would be begging this woman for help? Sarah was a young woman, but life had already thrown her more challenges than most face in a lifetime. She was a single mother, caring for her 2-year-old daughter, Mia. Her husband had passed away unexpectedly 2 years ago, leaving Sarah to raise Mia on her own. The pain of losing him never really left her, but she kept going, for Mia's sake. After her husband's death, Sarah had worked hard to support her little family. She had a steady job at a small factory, but then the factory shut down. Layoffs hit hard, and Sarah was one of the many left without work. With no safety net to fall back on, she struggled to find a new job. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. Bills piled up, rent was overdue. The fridge was often empty. To make ends meet, Sarah took on odd jobs, cleaning houses, washing clothes, anything she could find. But it wasn't enough. The money barely covered rent and basic needs. Sometimes she had to skip meals, so Mia wouldn't go hungry. Every night she whispered promises to her daughter, "Mommy will find a way, we'll be okay." Pride ran deep in Sarah's veins. She hated asking for help. It felt like admitting defeat. She believed she had to provide, no matter how hard it got. That's why, on the day she walked into the store, she was clutching her last few coins, hoping to buy just the essentials: a loaf of bread, milk and diapers for Mia. Those were the few things she could barely afford, but they were all that stood between her daughter and hunger. Sarah didn't want anyone's pity. She just wanted to survive, and keep her daughter safe. Amanda was a young woman, full of energy but quick to judge. She worked as a cashier at the busy store where Sarah had tried to buy her essentials. Amanda grew up in a comfortable home, never having to worry about money. For her, life was about status, looking good, moving fast and staying ahead. She had little patience for people she thought were lazy or freeloaders. To Amanda, anyone struggling was just that, someone who hadn't worked hard enough. She often complained to her coworkers during breaks, whispering about the beggars who came in asking for discounts or trying to use expired coupons. When Sarah walked into the store that day, Amanda saw just another poor woman trying to take advantage. She didn't stop to wonder about Sarah's story or her struggles. In her mind, Sarah was just someone who didn't deserve help. If she can't afford food, she shouldn't have had a kid. Amanda muttered under her breath, shaking her head. It was a harsh thought, but one she truly believed. Amanda's world was small and her heart was closed off. She didn't realize how quickly life could change. How easily fortunes could turn upside down. She thought she was safe in her judgment, her position, and her little corner of the world. But fate had a way of surprising even the most certain people. And Amanda's story was about to take a turn she never expected. After the humiliating moment in the store, Sarah stepped outside and sat down on a nearby bench. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she tried to hold back the overwhelming sadness. She felt broken, not just by the words the cashier had said, but by the weight of everything in her life. As she wiped her face, a gentle voice interrupted her thoughts. "Are you okay, miss?" An older man was standing nearby, watching her with kind eyes. Sarah looked up, surprised. The man introduced himself as Mr. Hassan, the owner of a small food stall just a few steps away. He told her he'd noticed her struggling, and wanted to help if he could. At first Sarah hesitated. She wasn't used to accepting help, but something in Mr. Hassan's warm smile made her feel safe. She nodded quietly. Mr. Hassan offered her a part-time job at his stall. Sarah began coming by every afternoon to sweep the floors, clean the tables, and serve customers. It wasn't much, but it was honest work. She showed up on time, worked hard, and treated everyone with respect. Word slowly spread about the young woman with the bright spirit and gentle smile. One day, a customer at the stall struck up a conversation with Sarah. He was the owner of a small bakery nearby, and was looking for someone reliable to help run his business. Impressed by Sarah's attitude and determination, the man offered her a full-time job at the bakery. Sarah accepted without hesitation. This was the chance she had been waiting for, the chance to rebuild her life for Mia and herself. With steady work and a supportive employer, Sarah's world began to change. Slowly but surely, she started to stand on her own feet again. She found hope in the little victories, the first paycheck, a warm meal, and the smiles from customers who appreciated her. Though life was still hard, Sarah no longer felt alone. She had found a path forward, and with every step she grew stronger. Amanda's confident world began to unravel slowly, but surely. At first it was small things. She started arriving late to work, brushing off the store's strict schedule as if rules didn't apply to her. Her once sharp smile faded into tiredness and frustration. She grew impatient with customers, snapping at them over the smallest mistakes, a wrong price, a forgotten coupon. No matter what, Amanda was quick to argue or talk back. Her co-workers noticed the change, whispering about her temper but staying out of it. The manager called her in a few times, giving warnings and reminders about professionalism. Amanda waved them off, thinking she was above it all. "I don't need this job," she'd say. "Something better will come along." But better jobs didn't come. One afternoon, Amanda lost her temper completely. A regular customer asked a simple question about a product, and Amanda snapped back harshly, louder than anyone expected. The store fell silent. The manager was watching. By the end of the day, Amanda was called into the office. She was fired on the spot. At first, Amanda believed it was just a temporary setback. She thought she'd find another job quickly, maybe even something better. But weeks passed. She sent out resumes, went to interviews, but nothing worked out. Her bills started piling up. Rent was overdue. Her phone was disconnected. The savings she'd kept for emergencies quickly disappeared. Amanda's friends, once close, slowly stopped answering her calls and messages. Embarrassed and ashamed, she kept to herself more and more. Desperation settled in. The woman who once looked down on others, now found herself struggling in ways she'd never imagined. Her pride was bruised, but more than that, Amanda felt lost. She didn't know how far she had fallen, or how she would get back up. Months had passed since Amanda lost her job at the store. Desperation had pushed her to search for any work she could find. One afternoon, while scrolling through job listings on her phone, a new opening caught her eye, a position at a small bakery in town. She didn't think much of it at first. She applied, hoping this might be the fresh start she desperately needed. On the day of the interview, Amanda arrived early, her heart pounding with a mix of hope and nervousness. The bakery looked cozy, with the smell of fresh bread and pastries filling the air. She stepped inside, and immediately froze. Behind the counter stood Sarah. But Sarah was no longer the tired, worn woman she remembered from the store months ago. She was confident, wearing a clean apron, and carrying herself with a quiet strength. There was a calm authority in her eyes that Amanda had never seen before. Amanda's voice caught in her throat. You work here?" Sarah smiled gently. "More than that, I run this place now." Amanda's mind raced. The woman she had once refused to serve was now the manager of the bakery where she had come hoping for a job. The roles had completely reversed. For a long moment, neither spoke. Amanda's cheeks flushed with embarrassment, and something close to shame. Finally Amanda looked down and said softly, "I really need this job." Sarah studied her for a moment. The memory of the harsh words at the store flashed through her mind, the way Amanda had looked at her with contempt, the smirk, as she refused to serve her. But she also remembered what it felt like to be at the bottom, struggling to survive, desperate for a chance. Sarah took a deep breath and said, "Everyone deserves a second chance. I'm willing to give you one, on a trial basis." Amanda blinked, barely believing what she was hearing. "Come in tomorrow morning," Sarah added. "Show me you're serious. Work hard, prove that you want this." Amanda nodded, her throat tight with gratitude. "Thank you. I won't let you down." As Amanda left the bakery that day, she realized how much life could change, and how sometimes the tables turn when you least expect it. Amanda started her new job at the bakery the very next morning. She showed up early, nervous but determined. At first, everything felt unfamiliar. The tasks were different from her old cashier job, and Sarah watched closely to see if Amanda was truly serious about changing. The work was hard, and Amanda made mistakes, but she didn't give up. She listened carefully, followed instructions, and slowly began to find her rhythm. What surprised Amanda most was how Sarah treated everyone with kindness and patience. Sarah greeted customers with genuine smiles, and took time to listen to their needs. Amanda noticed how customers left happy, not just because of the bread, but because they felt cared for. Day by day, Amanda learned more than just how to bake or handle orders. She learned how to be compassionate and respectful. One evening, as they closed up the bakery together, Amanda took a deep breath and looked at Sarah. "I want to say something," she began quietly. "I judged you without knowing your story. I was wrong. I'm sorry for the way I treated you that day in the store." Sarah looked at her and nodded. "Thank you for saying that. I forgive you." That moment changed everything between them. The bitterness and anger faded, replaced by understanding. Their relationship grew into one of respect and even friendship. Amanda worked hard, not just to keep the job, but to become a better person. Through humility and effort, she found a new path, and Sarah found someone who had once looked down on her, now walking beside her, learning and growing together. Today Sarah and Amanda work side by side in the bakery. What started as a difficult meeting has grown into a partnership built on respect and understanding. Sarah, once struggling to survive, has built a new life through kindness, hard work, and resilience. She is no longer the woman with torn shoes, but a strong leader who believes in giving others a chance. Amanda, on the other hand, learned humility the hard way. The woman who once looked down on others found herself needing help and forgiveness. Through her experience, Amanda discovered that life doesn't always stay the same. Sometimes, it flips the tables, and the roles reverse in ways we never expect. This story reminds us all of a simple truth: never judge someone by the way they look or where they come from. Behind every face is a story we may never know. And sometimes, the person we look down on today might be the one who helps us tomorrow. Life is unpredictable, but kindness, respect, and understanding can build bridges where judgment tears them down. So before you judge, remember Sarah and Amanda's story, and choose compassion instead. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video, comment below if you believe in second chances, hit the subscribe button, and turn on notifications for more stories like this. And please share this story with someone who needs to hear it today.